So I bought the property in 2016, and I began to gin up things that had been in my mind about what kind of facility I wanted and all those sorts of things. We had some basic design concepts worked out and things like that. And we began work on what we call the barn, which is our support building to this office function on the same site. And so we started that in 2019, and as you might recall, COVID hit right smack when we decided to begin this project. There were supply chain shortages, there were subcontractor shortages, there were labor shortages. Anyway, it took about a year and a half to complete the barn. And so we also began at the same time a formal rezoning process for this entire site. We had to convince the County Planning and Zoning Commission that this fit the Black Forest Preservation Plan and all these other things. And when they gave it the thumbs up, months and months later, it escalates to the Board of County Commissioners. Same song and dance all over again, and then they have to give their final approval. And so that process took, in total, it was 2 years from the time of submission to the time of final approval, and that's the green light. Okay, you can now submit your plans to the county building department, Pikes Peak Regional Building Department, for their approval. Well, that's another 4-month process. And so it was one thing after another that way, and we finally obtained a building permit and were able to break ground. There were huge issues with how to handle fire prevention and fire protection. That hurdle alone took more than 8 months and just short of a year to resolve. Because we're in a rural area, there is no city water. Okay, so the regulations for fire protection, which the local fire chief had resorted to because, remember, we're recovering from this big disastrous wildfire, we had to put a 35,000-gallon cistern in the ground. And just another couple $100,000 cost and more delays in waiting for a cistern that big to be fabricated and shipped, etc. And dead in the middle of the construction of the project, the architect unexpectedly died, which caused further confusion and delay. It's an ongoing marathon of construction, but the building was finally completed. And as you know, we had our ribbon cutting ceremony on the 12th of May, and the building was finally occupied. It's still not finished. There are still a few things here and there on back order, a few punch list items to correct and fix, but we're here.